Top ramen in a cremora sauce? Xerox blackened chicken?
What could you possibly add to ramen noodles that would make heads turn? Well, let's tear open the flavor packet on 10 weird ramen flavors from around the world.
It's ramen. Okay, I called the Japanese embassy.
Lemon ramen.
Lemons.
Lemons?
Yeah, you suck on them.
Citrus can be an excellent addition found in many different dishes all over the world. But what about adding it to ramen? Even though it's a traditionally savory dish, there has been no shortage of ramen experimentation over the years, which has yielded some truly unique combinations. One such combination is the mixture of lemons into the salty broth that accompanies your ramen noodles. It's said to be sour on the palate and a feast for the eyes, as it's garnished with slice upon slice of fresh lemon. While it's suggested that ramen is eaten fast and the eateries that serve it reflect this with their minimal seating, you'll want to eat this lemon ramen at breakneck speed in order to avoid the lemon slices from turning the broth too sour.
As fast as I can?
As fast as you can.
It's a tightrope act to walk, and not everyone's completely sold on this particular delicacy. People who enjoy extremely sour foods will most likely find redeeming qualities, and yet we can't help but ask why this particular rendition of ramen came to be. Seeing as how this particular version of ramen is made with a delicate chicken broth, people enjoying it are definitely going to have to worry about the lemon overpowering the dish. But if you're dealing with a rampant case of scurvy and craving ramen at the same time, well, have we got the dish for you. Chocolate ramen.
Rory?
I'll try the chocolate.
Coming right up?
Yes, really. Chocolate in your ramen. This is more of a dessert dish, and we'd wager that you won't see chocolate ramen on the menus of your local ramen shop. It's a uniquely divisive taste that some people can't get enough of. It's constructed using a black soy broth before leftover chocolate soup is added with garnishes of sweet and salty toppings. While tradition is extremely important in the Japanese culinary culture, there's also room for crazy combinations like this. It's what makes the cuisine coming from Japan so unique.
This is really something special.
Customers who have tried the ramen say that it's not as chocolatey as one would expect from a dish with the word chocolate in the name. Instead, the subtle hint of chocolate is teased throughout the broth. What ensues is an interesting profile of garlic and chocolate that's truly one of a kind. The Japanese people take their garlic and their chocolate quite seriously, so this seemed a natural extension of these two passions. We'll leave it up to the masses to decide if this one deserves to stick around, but if we had to guess, the niche group that this brand of ramen caters to will not let it go quietly into the night. Gyoza Ramen.
Beautifully done, my little gyoza.
Like many other aspects of their culture, Japanese citizens look at food much like a craft. Great care is taken to preserve the timeless quality of many popular dishes. One such dish is gyoza, which is unanimously known as Japan's best attempt at dumplings. Gyoza can be found all over the country from north to south in fine dining restaurants and as a popular street food. Gyoza is a dish that the Japanese people are truly proud of, and when you try one, you'll see why.
Let me show you.
They're often filled with cabbage and minced pork or some other form of ground meat, and then wrapped in a dumpling-like casing that should be almost paper thin. Well, what do you do when you have a tried and true recipe that everyone loves? Mess with it, of course. Yes, it didn't take long for people to add gyoza to their ramen, which is an affront to certain culinary traditions of Japan. However, we must remember the rule of experimentation. Failure leads to success, and Gyoza Ramen has a right to be added to the menu. Pringles Ramen.
Give me those damn Pringles!
Pringles is a powerhouse brand that makes their living in the chip aisle, so of course it seemed only natural that somebody in the marketing department would try and upstage the competition by offering ramen-flavored Pringles. But did those crazy kids at Pringles stop there? No, they did not. After this flavor was well received by audiences, they decided to turn the whole situation on its head. Not content with one corner of the market, they proceeded to release Pringles-flavored ramen.
Let's do it. It'll be fun.
That's right, an instant ramen packet paying homage to the saddle-shaped chip. Different varieties were released encompassing most of the popular flavors. Looking for just a hint of crunch with your instant ramen? Fear not, because this ready-in-minutes variety comes complete with actual chips to put in your broth. Even if it isn't the most organic path for ramen, consumers seem to be picking up on it. It's a niche but reliable type of instant ramen, and worth the try if you're feeling a bit adventurous. First time here? Well, be like the cool kids and smash that subscribe button and never miss out. Thanks, you're the best. Coffee Ramen.
The coffee there is terrible, but
I would enjoy the nostalgia.
If there's one thing that remains a fact around the world, it's that coffee is king. About 400 million cups are consumed each day in the US alone. It truly makes the world turn. But is it possible that this next entry is taking that love for coffee maybe a little too far? Coffee ramen is a lesser-known variety of the traditional Japanese dish, but that doesn't stop connoisseurs and brave foodies alike from seeking it out. It's prepared by adding a small amount of coffee to the broth, which transforms the taste into exactly what you would imagine.
Beyond your wildest imagination.
The canvas of culinary experimentation is a wonderful thing. Sometimes adding a simple ingredient can make the difference between perfecting and ruining a dish. Whatever category this particular brand of ramen falls into, we're not sure. But if you're looking for that much-needed pick-me-up in the morning and can't seem to get ramen out of your head, then just pour a little coffee into the broth. Who knows, you might be skipping the morning bowl of cereal and cup of joe in the future. Blue stock ramen.
I'm getting it.
You're getting what?
A stock.
What stock?
The Japanese people are famous for embracing aesthetics in their everyday lives. They're renowned for an understanding of art and how it plays into their culture. Along with this respect and understanding comes an appreciation for simple things like color. Japanese marketing and design is full of bright and vivid colors, and that same inspiration is bleeding into the culinary world. It's nothing new to see common dishes with strange colors. There's something about the novelty of the creation that makes it appealing, especially to kids. Well, if wacky colored food is your jam, then this ramen dish will be just your style. Blue ramen is said to have originated in the mid-2010s in a small shop in Japan.
I'm afraid I just blew myself.
What is it that makes the ramen blue? The chef will never tell, as they attribute the vivid color to their secret ingredient. And no, they've promised that it's not food coloring. Ever since the appearance of this strange ramen, instant noodle brands have been itching to replicate the success. There are several brands that now sell some sort of strange-looking colored noodles, and it's taken the country, as well as food photographers everywhere, by storm. Supposedly, the actual flavor of the ramen is said to be quite mild, being made from a basic chicken stock. So is it only a matter of time until we see multicolored ramen packs on grocery store shelves everywhere? Pineapple ramen.
Hawaii, pineapple's my favorite fruit.
Just because sweet and salty can make a good pairing, when experimenting with the two, it doesn't always work out that way. Papa Pine was a small little ramen shop that leaned heavily into this idea. Tops among their offerings was a unique style of ramen that had people flocking to the restaurant. Pineapple ramen is used by infusing the broth with the naturally sweet juice of the pineapple. Top it off with a pineapple-infused runny egg, and you have the special ramen that caused all the fuss. The presentation definitely doesn't disappoint either.
You're serious.
Have no fear, the dish comes complete with seaweed to imitate the pineapple leaves and a nice yellow finish on the broth once the juice has been mixed in. Sadly, this little ramen shop states that it's no longer in operation, but for a time, they were the toast of the town with their innovative idea. They've been featured in numerous publications and websites, but it appears that the publicity alone was not enough to save the shop. While Papa Papin might not be in operation anymore, the spirit of pineapple ramen lives on in the hearts of home chefs everywhere. Natto Ramen.
Wonderful accompaniment to soybeans.
One order of soybeans.
There are foods that people dislike because of personal taste, and then there are downright divisive foods. These are the types of foods that are either loved or hated. We're looking at you, black licorice. There's no middle ground on the battlefield of these contrasting foods. One such food, and perhaps the most controversial among Japanese people, is natto. You might be asking yourself, what even is natto? Well, you've probably never heard of it because it's rarely found outside Japan, as the rest of the world has not developed as much of a taste for it. Natto is made of Japanese soybeans that have been fermented. This leaves them sticky and slimy with a strong odor to match.
Another mysterious odor.
Natto is not known to be kind on unassuming palates and is definitely not a huge hit outside its native country. Yet someone was either crazy or brave enough to add this strange food to ramen and ruin a perfectly good thing. In all seriousness, many Japanese consume natto on a daily basis, and fans of natto ramen suggest that adding it to the rich broth tones down the strong taste and odor. Instead of using one food to make another more bearable, wouldn't it just make sense to just eat ramen by itself? Unless that is, you're someone who would ride or die for their daily natto. breakfast ramen.
It's breakfast. It's breakfast time. It's brekkie.
Ramen is not exactly what you would call a balanced breakfast. It's high in sodium, which can be a rocky start to the day, and even in Japan, it doesn't invoke the flavors of a traditional breakfast. Well, the Cup Noodles brand sought to remedy this situation. Meet breakfast ramen, a very interesting variety of instant noodles. This particular cup of noodles comes complete with everything you need to start your day: pancakes, maple syrup, sausage, eggs, and of course, noodles. You certainly didn't ask for it, but here it is anyway.
Actually, I did.
The flavor was said to be designed for U.S. markets, and it's unclear whether Nissin, the parent company of Cup Noodles, even sells it in Japan. If you're eating ramen that isn't even sold in its country of origin, what does that tell you? Maybe it's time for this Cup Noodles to go back to the drawing board on this one. However, we imagine that there are a few people who this would really cater to. While this is likely to be one of the rarest types of ramen offered on the market, that shouldn't stop the truly determined ramen fan from seeking it out.
Yeah, so we're going
After it.
Here's a little bonus info before we get to the top spot. Did you know that ramen isn't just unique to the shop that it's sold in, but also the region of the country? The different provinces of Japan, called prefectures, each have their own unique spin on the classic dish. Ramen is perhaps one of the most hotly debated topics in the culinary scene in Japan, with each region claiming that their variant is superior. In the end, the ramen connoisseurs are the true winners. It's said that there are over 30,000 ramen shops in operation, which means that your perfect bowl is out there waiting for you. Now, on to number 1. Pot Pie Ramen.
Turkey pot pie or chicken pot pie? Turkey pot pie.
Even in its traditional form, the right bowl of ramen can be life-changing. This next variety is definitely not conventional, but that hasn't stopped the praise from rolling in. Pot pie, or just pie ramen, is a unique take on the dish in that it's not served in a ceramic bowl. Panera fans rejoice because this bowl of ramen is nestled comfortably in its own golden pastry bowl. Diners are responsible for cracking open the pie and revealing the noodles and broth within. From there, eat as you see fit. If there was ever going to be an Asian version of chicken pot pie, then we assume this would be it. While you're enjoying the noodles, the pastry will be soaking up all the tasty broth, which means that even when the noodles are gone, you don't have to stop there.
to infinity and beyond!
This might not be a type of ramen that everyone goes crazy for, but in the world of experimentation, this ramen definitely deserves a nod. In a world of culinary purists who turn their nose up the moment that chefs stray from tradition, this ramen pays homage to the original dish while elevating it to something new as well. There are thousands of variations of this classic dish, and it can be hard to pick a favorite. But as they say, variety is the spice of life, or ramen in this case. We've got more than ramen on our menu, so tap on another great video and hit that subscribe button.